Hello there. Welcome back to the Calyx Services channel. I am Thelma. And today I get a chance to relax amongst my greenery. Well, relax, but I'm still going to be doing a fair bit of work demonstrating how you too can care for your Alocasia poly and have them looking as glorious as this big one. So please keep watching. Thanks for staying. Alocasia poly seems to be a very popular houseplant. We did a video about 6 months ago in which we concentrated on how to propagate Alocasia poly. And since then, we've had a few requests for providing information on how to care for Alocasia poly. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And as usual, I will start with the general requirements, such as the lighting and the distance from the window, for example. And then we'll focus on the maintenance activities, the watering, the fertilizing, and making sure that you keep a close look on your Alocasia for any problems that will develop. So let's get started with those general conditions. Alocasia poly, one of the most distinctive plants in any setting, whether in the garden or indoors. Look at these beautiful leaves with interesting patterns. Now, it's a tropical plant, but it's very well adapted for use, for positioning indoors. In terms of the lighting, place it in a location where it gets relatively bright but indirect light, whether artificial sources or the natural sunlight. I've placed mine indoors about 10 feet from a north-facing window, and it has done very well over the last 2 years or so. If you place it in a location that is too dark for the Alocasia, you wouldn't have this nice glossy look. In terms of temperature and humidity, Alocasia poly is a tropical plant, so you have to give it the kind of conditions that mimic tropical conditions. Temperatures between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit indoors, and certainly sufficient humidity. Anything over 60% humidity should be fine. Next up, let's look at watering. You have to keep the mix evenly moist. If Alocasia dries out too much between wetting, you're going to get some spots on the leaves, dried tips. This one suffered from dried tips. So you really do need to have a consistent moisture level in the soil. And as I'm talking about soil, let me just backtrack a bit and talk about the optimum media for Alocasia. Alocasia needs a really rich medium, high in organic matter, one that drains well but does not get soggy, does not get dense and retain too much water. And what I use is a mixture that has 1 part soil, 2 parts compost, and 1 part either vermiculite or the standard growing media. Make sure that the medium is consistently moist. Now, what is next? Fertilizing. It's not a particularly heavy feeder, so what I do is once a month I give it a regular 20-20-20 foliar fertilizer at half strength. And you see that has resulted in all these nice green, healthy, glossy leaves. This is the plant that was out in the nursery. And notice how it is, the leaves are nice and upright, no need for supports. And that's what happens when a plant is growing in nature. But just compare it with this one that has been indoors for about 1.5 years. Notice I've had to stake it. If I were to remove this, oh, it flops a bit. Oh, not bad. So, telling lies on it. But while I'm looking at this one that was outside all the time had absolutely no, well, it had some abrasion, physical damage, but there were absolutely no signs of scale insects. It was much healthier than the one that was inside. And the other aspect that develops inside with uneven watering is this drying of the leaves that I mentioned. And if you look closely, yeah, that is the main problem with this one indoors, as well as the mealybugs that came in. And that's something that we recommend all the time. You look closely in your leaf axils. This is another one that has been rather abandoned, and I am seeing that there are some scale insects coming in here, which is the topic of the next section of this video. Yes, I keep saying that we must pay close attention to our plants, monitor them closely, but there are times when we get busy, don't we? And although we know there's a problem there, we take too long to get around to it. And that is what happened in this case. See the real serious infestation of mealybugs? And there's really no need to delay, as the control is rather simple. First, you physically remove the scales that you can see with cotton or other tissue soaked in rubbing alcohol, and then you apply 2 or 3 applications of neem oil to suffocate the scales and suppress any new outbreaks. So let's get started on that. Gently wipe both the upper surface as well as the lower surface of the leaves, looking very carefully. The union of the petiole and the leaf blade, that's a real perfect place for these scales to hide. Also clean the leaf stalk, otherwise called the petiole. Look under any trash. That's also another place for the scales to hide. This is a good time to remove any weak or damaged leaves, as well as older leaves. Replace any support stakes. Attach the leaves in a nice, pleasing, balanced arrangement so the plant resumes its beautiful shape. And the last step in the mealybug treatment is to drench the soil with bioneem. When your plant is indoors, a drench is much more practical than a spray. I've covered the essentials of looking after your Alocasia poly indoors. The things you have to bear in mind is lighting. Alocasia does, although it has these nice green dark thick leaves, it really does prefer a bright indirect light. Make sure the direct sunlight doesn't hit it, or else it will scorch very easily. The other important consideration is the soil moisture. It has to be consistently moist. Periods of erratic wetting and drying of the soil is going to give you spots on your leaves. I hope you found the information useful. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you have any comments on Alocasia or any other houseplants, please leave us a note in the comment box. Until the next video, I am Thelma saying thanks for watching, take care, and bye-bye.